Good afternoon, dear colleagues, participants of our session. I'm happy to welcome you in our discussion session today, Human Capital for Energy Efficient Restoration, Equality of Opportunities as a Condition for Development. What is happening within the framework of energy efficiency 2025? Organizer is Business for Partnership. My name is Natalia Revutska. I am the member of Expert Council at the National Platform of Energy Efficiency, and I will be moderating this part of our meeting today. Today, we are here in order to raise a very important topic, which was beyond the topic of discussion about energy policy, energy efficiency. We want to talk about human capital, about its importance, role of human capital in the conditions of restoration, recovery, and course of energy efficiency implementation in order to understand how request is being formed for the personnel, for staff in the sector of energy efficiency, and how it's formed not only from the standpoint of quantity, but also from the standpoint of quality, competencies, and inclusivity issues. The main topic for us is to enhance our focus of attention and speakers who will be with us online, and also from the standpoint of media, focus of attention to this problem, and we want to share the decisions and cases that are already there. Right now, I would like to represent our main speakers and participants. Today with us, we have Yulia Narimanova, who is the deputy. Also online with us, we have Professor Viktor Kaplun, professor, who is at the Institute of Energy, Automatics and Energy Efficiency, National University of Bioresources and Natural Usage of Ukraine. Yulia Usenko, member of the Women's Energy Club of Ukraine, head of the All-Ukrainian Investment and Sustainable Development Energy. Also, we have Polina Kolodyazhna, program leader of Greenpeace Ukraine, Greenpeace Ukraine. Also, we have Iryna Zagorodnya, head of the project department of Repower Ukraine Foundation, and director of iSolar. And thank you so much to the speakers who are with us. Thank you for finding time. Let's move to our questions. First block, we will talk about labor market, about how is this request formed for the competencies, and what is the situation with the request for inclusivity that exists from the employers on one side and from the seekers of work on the other hand. But we understand that the request for experts and specialists, if we talk about energy efficiency, is formed in different spheres that are adjacent to energy efficiency. We're talking about construction, energy sector, project management, energy audit. There are many spheres that feel this request. And moreover, if we talk about staff deficit, many researchers, they testify this. Engineering specialization also plays an important role. So it's important to scan what is the situation in this sense on the labor market. The first question is for Ms. Yulia, because the employment center is in the field of attention, because they directly work with the participants of this market. First question, how does the employment center evaluate this situation in the sphere of energy efficiency? And is there this request for the green professions, green competencies? In what spheres? Where do you fix it the most? Good afternoon. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. Of course, sphere of energy is strategically important today within the framework of recovery of Ukraine and implementation of new technologies that we implement. And taking into account this reality that we are in, any sphere feels deficit of staff, and energy sector is, first of all, because majority of professions, they are male-centered. We understand there's mobilization, there's migration. It led to the almost absence of men on the labor market. If we have the special platform where employers post their vacancies, 240,000 vacancies, 1,400 they are in the sphere of energy. To compare, only 600 unemployed are registered in our employment center. They have this experience in this sphere. So we see the gap from the standpoint of the seekers of jobs and a huge demand from the standpoint of employers. I would like to continue with the issue of inclusivity. If we talk about development of human capital, we need to talk about inclusion of all social groups. A lot of topics are dedicated to the veterans policy. Many groups have to be included in this market, and they have to be the resource, human resource for recovery, for rebuilding, and in the conditions of the war. How do you see this request for inclusivity? First of all, how this is changing in the proposals from employers, how this is formed. There are certain standards. There were traditionally social packages because there is a request and the needs are there. If we talk about engagement of women, that's one thing. IDP engagement, that's a different thing. How much this is portrayed right now in this request from the standpoint of employers and seekers, job seekers. Do they satisfy this request? At the moment, this is also very, very relevant topic from the standpoint of the fact that veterans are coming back. Many of them have a disability. The talk of our employment center into is provide jobs for these people. Taking into account statistical data, we have the numbers for people with a disability. Speaking about, we stimulate employers to find jobs for people with disabilities. Also, we have compensation programs, which have the opportunity to support employers to compensate, to provide for persons with disability. If this is the person with the first group of a disability, it's 120,000. Second group of disability, it's 80,000. Thank you. Thank you very much for these accents. Right now, we already heard during discussion that there is an issue of informational availability, accessibility. So I hope that within the framework of our discussion information campaign, this information will be beneficial to business and people who are in these or the other social groups, and they can use these aspects. My next question will be related to our speaker, who is from men. He is the only one, but he's very valuable to us because he presents the sphere, which has an important role for the human capital because it engages youth. If we talk about perspectives and young people, as the perspective for the Ukraine and perspective for the development of the labor market is very important. In this sense, the second part, it's about preparedness of people to enter into the sector and opportunity given for young people to choose specialties, professions, in this regard. So the question is to you, Mr. Viktor. Does the educational system is it ready to respond to requests at the labor market? And what programs can be the drivers taking into account the request in different spheres and parallelly, and how much this educational sphere can prepare experts, specialists, and what changes do you see in the standpoint, from the standpoint of the change of competencies for the young people? Greetings to you all. I want to greet you not only with our meeting today, but the fact is that the format of this event has been cultivated. I was adjacent to the creation of the first event with the Ministry of Regional Development and Development of Territories. I think that was the name of this ministry. But taking into account your question, I will focus on a couple of global problems and challenges. Number one, labor market as of today and sphere of a system that provides for it has a huge gap. It's related to many different reasons. Due to the fact that for some reason in course of last 5-7 years there was formed the vision from parents about non-prestigious approach of the engineering professions, and under different formations of the rules, ministry evened up humanitarian scientific sciences with engineering sciences. And right now we have only deepening of this problem because we notice in course of 3 years a serious decrease and drop of applications that come. I'm not talking about our institute exclusively, but I'm talking about those universities, prominent universities that train specialists for these specialty. This is electroenergy, automatics, energy profession. It's the drop of number of applications and the quality of applicants has dropped too. We have applicants who have points a little bit higher than 130. 130, this is the minimum points for the budgetary professions. So to train expert specialist who has to have basic knowledge in such disciplines as physics, math, chemistry, and to train him or her within 4 years, provide the bachelor's degree where there's a differentiated calculation, algebra, and many other subjects are there, software programs. So we just want to state the fact that these applicants, they are not capable to cover these educational minimum of curriculum. That's why we have a couple of scenarios when we give opportunity to those who have very low possibilities, opportunities, in the sphere of preparation. We provide to them opportunity to have practice-oriented training through individual schedules. We have the broad circle of employers with whom we have 50 contracts that we have signed. We have cluster of digital energy, and university was the initiator of its creation, and through dual form of education, through practices, through individual schedules, we give opportunity to our students to find themselves in this profession. Thank you, Mr. Viktor. It was very interesting to hear about these scenarios of digitalization and energy. I think that truly this is very interesting and very prospective, but I would like to hear your opinion. What shall we do to overcome the problem of low prestigious approach? Maybe informational campaigns, maybe joint efforts. We have representatives of state institutions, business, international organizations, public sector. Maybe there are certain steps that we could make. What shall we start with? Again, with professional orientation. Maybe we need to talk to parents, to those who can affect the opinion of students. What can we do with this popularity? We can speak a lot about what would have happened if we could have done. I'll tell you what we're doing. In course of last 2 years, we did a scientific and methodological seminar, workshop for deans, for deputies of deans, prominent universities, and we engaged stakeholders. This was more than 12 prominent universities, and more than 30 stakeholders were engaged. We had the workshop on how, in these conditions, we can consolidate efforts, as you have mentioned, how to allow our students to get accomplished, to accomplish things in this profession. It's all dependent on the legislation, on other requirements, how we train them in these conditions. There are many different factors, and our colleagues from majority of universities, they have understanding towards our initiatives. On the 10th of October, we had another All-Ukrainian event, which we called for directors of gymnasiums, schools, colleges, their deputies. We had the event where we had over 40 different educational institutions that were represented. We talked to them. We tried to find points of contact, how to do this process, how to do the systematic professional orientation, how to engage here boys and girls. Right now, about 30 minutes ago, I had students who work and who study in one of the companies. So 5 of them work in the project department. Of them, 4 boys and 4 girls, 1 young man. And they are successful. They receive scholarship. They receive salaries, and they are successful in their studying. If we had more students like that, we would have less problems with the staffing. Profile committee did not hear us. We appealed to them at the Verkhovna Rada. We appealed, and we are in constant dialogue with the ministry, profile ministry. Unfortunately, they do not hear us. Their policy, for some reason, relates to fiscal things, how to decrease. And it relates, first of all, to the financing of the certain number of places. This is the promotion of the scientific development, educational schools. Engineer with the paper and a pen in the hand. You cannot train an engineer with just 2 things, paper and pen. It costs a lot. Cluster of energy efficiency 2 years ago has built one in Ukraine, a special center for networks, and within our framework. And this is the result of cooperation. Business is ready to enter the platform of university, but it needs to have understandable goals and trajectories on our part. Thank you, Mr. Viktor. We hope this is why we are discussing these issues right now, and our platform will become this opportunity to be heard by those to whom we are sending this information or who can send this information. And then I hope that we will work with these issues even further. For me, it was valuable to hear from you about engagement of girls, and we will have this perspective and hope that in this aspect, tendencies will maintain. Thank you for focusing. I want to add, recently, Olga Busova from the Ministry of Energy, just recently Oksana Hanchuk from Ministry of Energy. We have great examples for girls. Yes. Alina Bondarenko, CEO of the Tech. She's our graduate. She is the chair of the huge prominent company. This is wonderful. And it's important to promote these role models. But right now, I have an opinion. Maybe we need to promote these cases of students who are studying and who are working, because very often young people don't take well cases of adults, but they understand well cases of the generation, of the people of their age. Thank you, Mr. Viktor. Right now we heard about the problem that truly certain steps are being implemented from two spheres, from the state institutions, labor market, employment center, education, but also we have the part of ecosystem, this is business, which also needs the staff. And right now, Miss Julia, you are, yes, I'm looking at you. I'm talking about small and medium business that needs support in order to form the skills of energy efficiency, because on one part, this small and medium business needs a staff, but on the other hand, it needs the knowledge, how they should move around. So my questions are, what are possibilities that are opened in order to provide specialized programs for SME and for businesses that are guided by women, how to provide to them this informational support in the context of energy efficiency, and then how these programs can help increase this energy awareness, because we understand it's a chain. We enhance energy awareness, and then it affects on the communities because women are drivers of the decisions on the level of state. The floor is yours. Thank you so much for the question, because usually I'm used to talk on technological topics because I work in the sphere of energy and I have the engineering education. And today I have the opportunity to share on the platform of Week of Energy Efficiency 2025, not only these aspects, but also experience, which is related to mentorship, training, my educational initiatives, which are opened thanks to cooperation with the Women's Energy Club. On examples, I'm very inspired by the program that the Women's Energy Club has initiated, Power of Women in Energy, New Measurements of Entrepreneurship. We managed to develop a very interesting course, structure of this curriculum, lectures, materials, and we wrote even the guidelines, the text guidebook. It's open, and representatives can of SME can use it, micro entrepreneurs. Why this is needed? Because business has received the request to cover basic knowledge, how to provide for their needs at the enterprise with the technologies and solutions from the energy efficiency and energy resilience. Why this is happening? Because constant power outages. Business stays in crisis, in challenges. In order not to have this and not to depend on external factors, of course, we need energy autonomy. We felt it in the program which I have just now voiced with the Women's Energy Club, and we felt it, and my engagement, personal one, in cooperation with the network of rural areas, because women in rural areas, they suffer from challenges. They lead family businesses. Men are fighting. They're in the armed forces of Ukraine, while women are providing jobs for all other people who live in their community, in their villages. So the role of woman entrepreneur has become much more multi-sectoral in the times of the martial law. So these programs have request, and they help partially to unload the load and to save some funds to engage external experts on how to plan the needs, how to provide for energy efficiency, how to align energy management, how to implement these policies. And truly, many entrepreneurs independently are interested in how to do this, and results. I will finish this, and the practical examples in course of mentorship programs. I felt that this is working. Really, women who are entrepreneurs, who became participants of these programs, they implement these decisions in practice. This is very encouraging. Thank you, Yulia. Here, there are two problems that are being covered. First of all, problem to engage experts for SME with specialization, energy efficiency, or in issues related to energy sector. And the second one is the raising the energy awareness and energy efficiency in businesses. And I started this question with SME because I understand that once this business will become bigger and they will receive more requests. So if we already put these things in the foundation, and we already start doing it now, not without postponing in the future, then it embodies the policy. Now, logically, I will transfer to the issues related to business. Business which, besides the fact that it offers energy sustainable decisions, but it engages also staff. It's Miss Alexandra. It's interesting to hear about your cases in the case of energy policies. But also, let's talk about other social groups that they have to become the foundation of human capital. These are women, these are young people, these are IDPs who have their own challenges in the employment. And this is what business is trying to find best solution, because business cannot take all this load on themselves. So my question to you is, what practices allow now to energy companies to effectively engage such groups, women, young people, and what changes in the conditions of the labor are needed, taking into account these circumstances and situation? Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for this audience. Thank you for raising this important topic. First of all, we need to go into the foundation, the values of our company. One of four is innovation. We implement trainings, lifelong learning component. This is the foundation of how we treat our staff, how we hire people as well. Why we're here? For us, we think we are socially responsible business. So we want to know what are the trends on the market. We don't want to fall out of them, and we want to remain relevant. There is a feeling that sometimes we set the trends, so it's wonderful to be here. Speaking about the categories with which we have been working, it's important to say that we do not set aside people by certain categories. We hire specialists. So with our staffing diversity, we can boast that we have more than 10% of veterans who work in our company. We have not only veterans, but we understand that we have representatives of families of veterans, wives, children, different categories indeed of specialists. These are women, these are internally displaced persons, these are young people. I would like to speak separately about women. There is a stereotype that energy is the male dominant profession. In our company, everything is very active. We wanted to destroy this stereotype. We have in our project department, we have women. And unfortunately, there are not as much of them yet, but they're there. And interesting case, we have women who work in the service department. We have overcome this bias, and right now in every department we have one of the representatives from the categories that I have just mentioned. I also want to say that we are proud that our company is the first job for many people, many specialists, for many young people. We actively cooperate with vocational schools, with educational institutions, market of vacancies. We use different platforms in order to engage smart young people, and it will allow us then to become an important link to businesses. We are the company that has provided this opportunity to them. And then from additional elements, despite these components, we still have the staff hunger. We lack staff and workers. So whenever we have a system called Bring Your Friend and special incentives, and then we provide trainings as well. We have the training platform, Solar Academy, where our specialists are teaching. We have created adaptation of our specialists, and then we do trainings for them, and then we take the best practices. Especially, it's wonderful that we have access to the producers, and we are the representatives of these producers, and they come to us and they learn, and then we can introduce those cases in our iSolar Academy. Speaking about all categories that I have just mentioned, these are the main aspects, and due to these channels, we engage specialists, and we don't look at gender, age, or other social differences. We are interested in specialists. We are interested in those whom we hire and whom we are ready to invest into, train. And development is important too. Thank you so much. It's very beneficial to hear about this from business, about such success cases. But we understand that business has a lot of challenges, because to close the need in staff is not an easy task. And these are expenses that staff has to carry. It's wonderful that business implements such initiatives, but we understand that these are resources that were taken from the development and they were transferred to the social sphere, which don't bring benefits. Business cannot always take all the burden on themselves, and other participants of the ecosystem should help as well. Important participants are international organizations. Miss Polina, program leader of Greenpeace Ukraine. I know that you have interesting initiatives related to energy efficiency, renewable sources of energy. What is your vision? Taking into account the experience of Greenpeace, how can you support inclusive human capital? And share about your projects, your understanding, and let's talk about motivational issue. How to raise the motivation of potential participants, representatives of different project participants. Greetings. Thank you so much for the invitation. First of all, I need to explain. We started working in Ukraine with the first days after the full-scale invasion. At first, this was the radiation monitoring, which we still are implementing 24/7. But together with that, after the occupation of Kiev region, we started paying attention at the fact how communities in general are rebuilding, restoring, and we have representatives from the region, and they asked us to help. This was the first project that we implemented in the Kiev region. We implemented it according to all standards of energy efficiency. We installed the heating pump, a solar station, and then for the first time we saw the stereotypes, because community was very skeptical about the solar panels on the roof, because they didn't have experience. Residents were very skeptical. They didn't understand what this is all about. They didn't understand. In a couple of months, when blackouts started, this site was used as the invincibility point. And in the future, other projects also started using the invincibility point, and we saw that this effectively affects the opinion of people in the community. More and more communities wanted to install the solar stations, understanding all the benefits. It was an incredible experience for us. And at the moment, maybe 2 years ago, when other funds, foundations wanted to help and other international organizations wanted to send assistance aid in form of solar stations, when other communities were ready to install the solar stations, we saw the lack of staff. We understood that this stereotype existed, that energy sector is not for women. And in the future, we saw more and more confirmation about that. And idea appeared to start the training course for women, to retrain women, to teach them installation. We didn't understand if there would be any demand at all. There were criteria, the previous experience or basic knowledge. We appeared to our partners, Academy Atmosphere. They already trained people for their company and in general, and we decided to do the first pilot project. Without advertisement, we did the advertisement on Facebook, and 150 applications came from women. We understood that women are ready. Women are ready to go fight with these gender stereotypes, prove that they can. And the next year, together with our partners, with Women in Tech Ukraine and people in need, we decided to do the second stage of training, and we trained 30 women. Again, we saw a lot of desire from women, but at the same time, we saw the lack of support of these women, even among their families. Their families said, "Why are you applying there? You will fail." Even on the basis of universities, we had students from university and their teacher, their professor, woman, who told them, "Don't apply, you will fail." This is not the woman's business. We conducted this training. We started looking for companies who could find employment for women. During the training, we understood also that women need additional motivation, because still the first person who does not believe, this is woman who doesn't believe in herself. Very often we don't believe in ourselves. We need additional external support. And in order to work with this, we engaged a psychologist who, in course of the training, supported and provided the additional motivation. We had mentors as well, who also supported. It worked very well. All 30 women went through the training, and majority of them showed willingness to continue the training. And at the moment when we started finding the companies, we encountered skeptical opinion, because we looked for companies in the regions, because our graduates were from regions, not from Kyiv. Companies were not ready to accept women in their companies. There were a couple who said, "Okay, for the project activity, we're ready to welcome you." There were a couple who said, "Yes, we really are understaffed. We are ready to hire women. We are ready to provide with the first experience. We are ready to train them and then provide employment." But at the same time, the huge percentage of companies were laughing. They said, "Women, are you kidding? This is not the women's business. No." And this is awful. But at the same time, we managed to engage. We found partners. We engaged women to the installation. Some of them implemented already. They did the first practice. They installed solar panels in the hospitals, in the regions. They received the experience, and they understood for themselves that they are capable. And that's important. I think this motivation, internal motivation, and opportunity to be a part and receive this practice, this is the best step to increase the number of women in energy sector. But we need to work with companies at the same time. Thank you. Yes, truly, this is important. These are important steps that you are doing, and it's important to hear about these insights because we're talking about infrastructural provision, technical training, but we're not talking about psychological aspects that could be hidden, that no one wants to think about and nobody wants to talk about. In the course of last year, we conducted a lot of I'm talking about energy, Women's Energy Club. We had many different events, and we heard from companies about how they study motivation and how they work with families of women and how they introduce the teams, how they study that women are afraid of heights. Men are afraid of heights, but they're not talking about this. But women are more vocal about it. It was one of the reasons why women, after training, don't want to go to work. But if this could be processed before this, then the number of women will grow, who will stay in the profession. So these are peculiarities that need to be understood, and they could be included in the psychological aspect of the training, and it can increase efficiency and engagement. Thank you so much. It's very valuable. Also, I would like to say additionally that business cannot cover everything. And it's valuable that we have support of international organizations, but at the same time, the public sector that combine state efforts, international efforts. Today we heard about initiative of energy training, energy awareness, about support to women entrepreneurs. And it's valuable to hear about other projects, other examples. Miss Iryna, we would like to hear from you. What is the experience from Repower Ukraine Foundation, and maybe your summaries about these projects that could be taken into account in order to scale up in the future? Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, dear participants, dear speakers and organizers. Thank you for the opportunity to share experience of Repower Ukraine. Since 2023, we implement initiatives related to requalification, retraining of adults into the sector of solar energy. In the course of these years, we understood the high motivation of our target group. These are veterans, IDPs, in order to find new qualifications, new skills in this sphere. In 2025, we started a bigger project. Our goal is to align synergy between all stakeholders. This is the state employment center, educational institutions, and business communities, and all stakeholders work together to engage people in the renewable energy. Then we can together solve the staffing problem. Also, we conducted research of the state of labor market in the sphere of renewable energy. I can give you even statistics. According to the results of our research, which was done in 2024-2025, the general national research of the market, labor market in the sphere of energy, 44% of vacancies are not closed yet. This is research that was conducted by the Federation of Employers of Ukraine, together with Employment Center and Felvetas Ukraine. Also, 32% of employers informed about difficulties to find staff. According to the Women's Energy Club in 2024, which was conducted, 54% of companies have need in specialists without opportunity to expect the training. Our organization has been working a couple of years with this sector. We understand that the retraining of adults, together with the state support from employment center, information support from the public sector, together we can engage more people into this sphere, and we can provide opportunity for them to study, to be trained. To speak about barriers from the adults to be engaged in the renewable energy sector. This is the uneven access in the regions, lack of awareness among population in the energy sector, how to develop as professionals, and absence of flexible formats of education. Because for adults, it's important to give opportunity to combine work and training with family as well, with family obligations, commitments. We understand that a lot of work is still ahead, and work of all stakeholders will be very beneficial. And here I would like to also say there's a huge motivation from veterans of ITPs in retraining. We received more than 1,000 applications for education. We could satisfy only fifth part of all applicants. 18 women among 200 graduates. 18 women also are there. So there is interest from women in understanding that they can bring in their experience. I can speak a lot. Thank you so much. It's very valuable that you have indicated the numbers of different research centers. It's good to use as arguments for different stakeholders, and it's important for ourselves to know that what we're doing is very valuable. I want to ask our audience, do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? And summarizing, I would like to say that truly every one of us, every one of the speakers represented this opinion. We talked about problems openly that are there, but still we have certain decisions and we already have certain solutions. So I want to wish us all in the next year, within the framework of National Platform of Energy Efficiency 2026, that we would talk about ideas as embodied decisions and new projects of cooperation, of partners that we have today, different institutions, international organizations, public sector and business, which could be scaled up. This is very important, and I want to underline, as an expert who's interested in the topic of human capital, we can talk about technologies and innovations is important, but it's more important to talk about people, because this is for whom we are rebuilding Ukraine, and this we implement this energy efficiency. Thank you so much, and I want to wish to all of you this efficiency and most of the informational awareness.